Solo: A Star Wars Story stars Alden Ehrenreich, Donald Glover, and is directed by Ron Howard. And this is the 11th theatrical Star Wars movie, the second standalone movie, and the fourth movie made by Disney. Man, the Star Wars timeline is starting to get all over the place. I mean, you need a goddamn chart just to keep it all straight! We follow a young Han Solo in this movie as he's taken on different adventures to eventually become the Han Solo that we know and love from the original trilogy. We see how he meets Chewie, we see how he meets Lando, and we see how he gets the Millennium Falcon. That's basically the plot of this story. There's other things too, but I don't like to give away every little plot detail. So if you want to know more about it, go check out the movie. But that's essentially what the trailer showed us. That's essentially what we knew we were going to see in this movie. So there you go. I've been behind Disney's back ever since they bought Lucasfilm. When they bought Lucasfilm and announced that we were going to get all these new Star Wars movies, I was super excited. I heard they were going to make episodes 7, 8, and 9 to continue off the original trilogy. I was really excited for that. And then I heard we were going to get these standalone spin-off movies. And I was like, do we really need to see standalone movies that take place in between certain movies? And then Rogue One came out. I need to redo my video on Rogue One because my opinions have changed majorly about Rogue One. But then I heard the next one was going to be about Han Solo. We were going to get a standalone movie of young Han Solo. And I thought, really? We're doing this? We're going to see standalone movies of famous Star Wars characters? I basically thought everyone else did. What's the point? We don't need to see what Han Solo went through to become the Han Solo from the original trilogy. What we were told in the original trilogy is fine, is good enough. We don't visually need to see it. So I was never excited about a Han Solo spin-off movie, but I thought, whatever, they're making it. We'll see what happens. That's basically what I thought. And then the teaser trailer debuted during the Super Bowl this year, and my expectations just plummeted. That trailer was bad. I did not like that trailer at all. It looked very boring. It looked like they didn't even try. Alden Ehrenreich just looked like a guy dressing up as Han Solo. I didn't get a Han Solo vibe from him. The only thing I was really excited for at that point was Donald Glover, and that's not really a good thing. I should be excited. I should be pumped for when a Star Wars movie comes out, because I love Star Wars so freaking much. I should have been bouncing off the walls when I saw the trailer. But instead I watched it and I was like, this movie's gonna suck, isn't it? But all the promotions after the theatrical trailer came out actually got me more excited. I started to see more footage from the movie. I saw more of Alden Ehrenreich, and I thought, okay, this movie could at least be good. I'm not expecting it to be a great movie. I was never expecting it to be better than The Empire Strikes Back, or The Force Awakens, or the original trilogy. I wasn't expecting it to be better than any of that. I said to myself, if I at least think this movie is good, I'll be happy with it. And then I started to see more reviews. The reviews started to get more negative. And it got to the point where I had little to no expectations for this movie. I went in saying, you know what, this movie's going to happen. Whatever happens, happens. Let's just get through it. Like I said, as long as I think it's good, I'm fine with it. And I have to admit, I actually really enjoyed this movie. It's not a great movie. It's not a game changer for Star Wars, but I wasn't really expecting it to be. I had no expectations going into this movie. And leaving the theater, I had a good time with it. I've been seeing a lot of comments saying that for those who enjoyed the movie, they say it's a lot of fun, yada yada. I've been seeing that all over, and it's true. It is a fun movie if you enjoyed the movie. I don't fully agree with most of the negative comments of this movie. I understand it, don't get me wrong. If you're out there and you hate this movie, I understand all your complaints of the movie. It's just that for me, I'm one of the few people that really enjoyed this movie. But I made sure not to fanboy over this movie, because that's something I did with Rogue One. And like I said earlier, now my opinions on Rogue One have changed. I'll do a proper video of it at some point. But I made sure not to fanboy with this movie, simply because, it's Star Wars. Oh my gosh, I love Star Wars. I want to see Han Solo. I want to see Chewbacca, Lando. I want to see all of them. I'm like, okay, they're in this movie, but let's focus on the movie itself. Not let's focus on it's Han, it's Chewie, it's Lando. This movie's amazing! I did, however, really enjoy all the characters in this movie, except for one character, which I'll get into a little bit later. But all the performances are really great in the movie. They're likable, they're entertaining, you get behind them, loads better than the characters in Rogue One. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Alden Ehrenreich really pulled it off as Han. I really liked him as young Han Solo. When he showed up on the screen, I was watching him the entire movie, and I was like, you know what? I like this guy. I'm sorry to quote Lando, but I like this kid. That was stupid, but whatever. I really like him as Han Solo. You know, he didn't feel like he was ripping off Harrison Ford. You can see a little bit of Harrison Ford in him, but besides that, he's his own character. He's young Han Solo. And I really liked it. I'm actually glad they signed him up for 3 more movies. I wouldn't mind seeing more of him in these movies. And I actually like the story of this movie. You know, this is a heist movie, and I really like heist movies. So for that to be in Star Wars, it was actually pretty well handled. There wasn't really, like, high stakes in the movie. You know, I didn't really feel a sense of urgency or danger. That was a bit disappointing, but the fact that the story overall was at least decent, and I really liked it, that actually says quite a bit, considering I had no expectation for the movie. So a lot of people are complaining about the story. You know, it's been done before, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it has been done before. But for me, it all comes down to, is it handled well? And I think it is well, overall. You know, it could have been better, but overall, I think they did a good job with the story. There's quite a bit of great moments in this movie, and something that helps those moments is the cinematography and the score for the movie. Both are actually really, really well done. The cinematography looks great in this movie. You know, it has a old-time Western vibe, which is something that I actually really appreciated putting into Star Wars. And the score is great. A lot better than Rogue One and even The Force Awakens. It used certain key themes from Star Wars that's been used in previous movies that really helped with certain action sequences. For instance, when Han and Chewie first pilot the Millennium Falcon together, they used certain musical cues, and me and my friend got chills when we saw it. It was handled really well. Now, before I saw this movie, I was hearing things like this movie, you know, doesn't add anything to the whole lore of Han Solo or Star Wars. And that's something I should mention, because when I saw it, I tend to agree with that comment. It doesn't really add anything to the Star Wars story with Han Solo or the original trilogy. What this movie does is just a 2-hour movie of showing us stuff that Han Solo talked about in the original trilogy and even The Force Awakens. And, you know, after I sat down and processed this whole movie, that is a bit of a disappointment. I would have liked to see something new added to Han Solo or Star Wars. Even though I was entertained with the whole movie, I would have liked that this movie would have taken just a little bit more risks, a little bit more chances, break a few rules, but unfortunately it didn't do that. However, at the same time, if they would have taken a major risk, a major chances, like The Last Jedi, I think fans would have hated this movie even more than they already do now, because you don't want to mess up Han Solo. You know, this movie had a big risk of messing up Han Solo and Lando and the story that was set up in the original trilogy. Luckily, though, for me, at least from my opinion, luckily it didn't, but at the same time, I would have liked to see more originality in terms of adding more and experiencing something different. But at the same time, I get why they did that. You know, you didn't want to ruin anything. And like I said, overall, it's enjoyable enough. It's just my opinions, I guess. My opinions are kind of back and forth with this movie. Now let's talk about that one character that I didn't really like after I sat down and processed this movie, and that's the new droid of L3. I started to like her, but then as time went on, she kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I didn't really think she was that funny. She did have some okay moments, but overall, she was just a droid to compete with K2SO, C-3PO, R2-D2, and BB-8, and I didn't really buy it. Like, if you would have taken that droid out I would have been fine with it. You wouldn't have missed anything. You know, yeah, she does have good moments, but overall, she's just a weak droid. Doesn't compete with R2D2 and C-3PO, and that's basically what they were trying to do. Also, let's talk about the villain really quick. The villain is super weak in this movie. Paul Bettany plays the bad guy. I can't remember his name. You know, he's kind of forgettable. And he doesn't have much screen time, but when he does, he's really good. Paul Bettany does a good job portraying the character. It's just that there's nothing to him. There really isn't anything to the character. He's honestly one of the weakest villains that Star Wars has ever had, and like I said, the performance is good. It's just, he's a weak character. He's a weak villain. And, you know, for something like Star Wars, you need strong villains. Even though I keep going to Rogue One, and I'm really sorry, but it's the only other standalone movie. You could say what you want about Rogue One, but Director Krennic did have great moments in the movie. I'd rather watch Director Krennic over Paul Bettany's character. So, yeah. Unfortunately, weak villain. Sorry. Solo: A Star Wars Story went through a lot of production issues. They ended up firing the original directors for the movie. They brought in Ron Howard. From my understanding, Ron Howard reshot like 90% of the movie, and that's a lot. But the end result is actually a pretty enjoyable and fun Star Wars movie. Like I said, it's not great. It unfortunately doesn't add anything to Star Wars. It's just a 2-hour movie showing Han Solo and what we know from him from the original trilogy. But you know what? I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this movie. It's not great. It's not the top of the list of my Star Wars movies, but I'm okay with this movie. I was enjoying myself. I was entertained. And you know what? For going in with no expectations of the movie, an okay, good movie is fine with me. I'm okay with this movie. I'm going to give Solo: A Star Wars Story 3 stars, and I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me on that one, but you know what? I told myself to not fake it during this movie. You know, I enjoyed this movie more than other people did. There's people that hate this movie. There's people that think that this movie is just, it's fine, whatever. I really enjoyed this movie, and I said to myself, don't just say something just because everyone else is saying it. I want to make sure that on this channel, I'm giving you my 100% honest opinions on everything. And if that means standing out a little bit, like in this situation, so be it. At least I'm being honest with myself and with you guys. I'm not here to bullshit anything. I like this movie. There's people that don't. There's people that might hate me for it. That's fine. I have my honesty, and I have people that support that. So you know what? There you go. So if you've guys seen Solo: A Star Wars Story, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. And where does it rank in your Star Wars list? I'm going to do an eventual re-ranking of all the Star Wars movies now that Rogue One and The Last Jedi and now Solo is out. But I'll say for right now that this movie is directly down the middle. Directly down the middle between the ones I don't like and the ones I do like. And, you know, the fact that it's even there is honestly really impressive. So whatever you think, let me know in the comment section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, then click right here. And I'll see you guys next time.